Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming on a beautiful morning. We'll see if the sun lasts longer than it's been lasting the last few days. We welcome you to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. Bienvenidos todos al servicio dominical de los, this is always hard, Unitarios Universalistas de San Miguel de Allende. This is a place where we can bring our whole selves, being who we are and loving who we love. Este es un lugar donde podemos traer todo nuestro ser y ser aceptados tal como somos y amando a quien amamos. It's been a while since we've reminded ourselves, I thought about this yesterday, that this amazing city where we live, San Miguel, holds cultures and histories of 3 indigenous civilizations. We're living on their historic lands, the Chichimeca, the Otomi, and the Nahuatl peoples. I think it's good for us always and wherever we are on earth to remember that we're visitors to each other's homes. Those who are with us at the Aldea can join us for coffee and cookies, as you know, off to my right. And we encourage you to check out the welcome table, which is over by the windows, for fellowship information, our upcoming activities, things like the Thursday luncheon games at La Frontera, and Reverend Tom's Tuesday morning Zoom. You might see during the coffee hour that Ellie Goodwin and Raven, who we'll have stand, just in case you don't know Raven. So Ellie and Raven will be circulating to make sure that whether you're a visitor or a member, if you would like to be on the newsletter or the Google group, or if you would like a permanent name tag, Ellie, you told me if it's anything at all, because Ellie has all the answers. Ellie knows everything. And the Google group is really helpful for receiving important and timely information. Sometimes an event might get canceled due to weather. That's where you might hear about it, where you wouldn't otherwise. And we see this fairly frequently, someone may need a walker, a wheelchair, a cane, and you might have one to lend. So it's almost like a civil list, but for you use. After this service, those on Zoom can stay connected and visit with others in the main room for conversation. If you visit on Zoom today, you can type in your name and where you're from if you're a visitor, and then those others on Zoom will know about that and be able to chat with you later. Yes, I do have a couple of visitors. Thank you. We have a visitor today, Dawn, who is the daughter of Jerry Rosing. She's here for a couple of weeks. She's sitting right next to Jerry. Welcome, Dawn.
We love your father.
If we have other visitors today, and you're willing to stand so we can see who you are, that would be great. And then we'll know who to watch for during coffee hour. Anybody here who'd like to stand? Hi.
My name is David Abrahams, and my father was
Sidney
Sidney Abrahams.
Abrahams. Okay, great. This is David. Glad to see you. Any other visitors?
He was a great friend of you, at least in California.
That's great.
San Jose, California. I'm a past member there, and sometimes can be at the UU in San Jose.
Neat. I actually finished college near Santa Rosa, though I wasn't a UU then. So any other visitors I missed? Okay, thank you. So welcome, absolutely welcome here. We do record our Sunday in-person services, and you can find a link to these on our website, UUFSMA.org. While on the website, you can also check out various events and find information on how to become a net member or to pledge if you haven't done that yet and want to. And we also highlight events that are coming up soon, like this coming week, on the back of your order of service. I lost my train of thought, sorry. So you'll find information here in the real world, and you'll find it online as well. And now we invite you to relax into our worship service. Take a breath, sit back as you listen to these opening words. Carla? Here we are together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one. To embrace the lessons life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we each have a part. Aquí estamos juntos, cada uno frente a nuestras diferentes tareas humanas, o tal vez el mismo central, para aceptar las lecciones que la vida ofrece, discernir y responder a medida que crecemos, rechazar el daño y apreciar el florecimiento, que nos conozcamos a nosotros mismos como vasos de infinitas posibilidades, poseedores de los dolores de cabeza y de las historias de alegría de cada uno por igual, tejedores de una historia en el que cada uno tengamos nuestra parte. Here we are together, aquí estamos juntos.
Now, let's join our voices together in hymn 1031, filled with loving kindness, and I invite you to stay seated and enjoy the hymn. You can help us with the singing, and after this, the covenant, we're going to recite the covenant. Thank you.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
And now, I invite you to all to join together in reciting this fellowship unique covenant. A covenant is a promise we make to each other. It is about who we aspire to be in relation to each other and the larger world. We'll mix up a little bit today and start with the Spanish, and then Susan will lead us in English. So please raise. Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant. Thank you. So we now enter an important time in our service when as a community we can share each other's joys and concerns. I invite everyone who came here electronically or in person to take a breath and settle, and let's feel community with each other as we share these joys, burdens, and sadnesses. As we gather each week together, we light candles for what's in our hearts. Each candle we light signifies that thought or that person is held by all of us. It's part of weaving one congregation, one community over time. If you'd like to share a joy or concern for a future service, you can, email Reverend Rosiello. Sometimes we get the email on the screen, maybe not, but it's easy. Ask us. If you're on Zoom, you can type a joy or concern into the chat box, and someone will bring them forward to me. So we light our first candle of concern and really deep caring for those of us who know him and those of us who don't. George Wakefield, has become a frequent visitor, and in fact, he's a neighbor to a number of us who live very close to each other on the Ancha near Mercado Sano. Well, George suffered a stroke 2 days ago, one of those out of the blue, and sadly, it happens to us as we get older. He's doing okay. He has a bit of a road to recovery, but he's home from MAC after 2 days, and he's got nursing support. So I'm sure he would love to know that he's in our thoughts, our prayers, and we'll send them his way and visit when he's ready for visitors. I hope he's watching on Zoom. His friend Gay said they might be this morning. We continue our concerns for Mark Johanningsmeyer's healing after his fall from several weeks ago. We hope he's doing a lot better. He would still love some phone calls and visits because he's homebound. So let Judith know or contact Mark directly if you know how to do that. He really would like some visitors. Gets boring to be stuck inside. We have some concerns that I'll mention in just a minute, actually, because it goes with what I was going to say. Someone handed us a concern card. At the top of our concerns for this morning, we light a candle for those injured and killed last night at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump, who was there as a candidate, was injured and thankfully has been released from the hospital already. We send our thoughts and wishes for his recovery and also hold in our hearts the innocent bystander who was killed and the 2 others who were seriously injured in this attack. As we've done for over 2 years, we light our blue and yellow candle for all the suffering and the deaths on both sides, resulting from Russia's invasion of Ukraine that seems without end. And we light our red candle as we hold in our hearts those living through the ongoing horror and suffering in Gaza and Israel, both for the Israeli civilians killed and kidnapped on October 2nd, Also the tens of thousands of deaths, primarily of innocent Palestinians, children, who are struggling to survive during this humanitarian crisis. And now, our final candle is a candle in a moment of silence for all those joys, sorrows, and concerns that haven't been shared, but are held unspoken in our hearts. And those are our joys and concerns today. No birthdays, no other great stuff. Okay. I had a joy. I'm sorry. Let me go back. We'd like to share the joy of 3 of our young people who are in our Explorers education. We meet once a week once a month during the normal part of the church year, September to June. Jerome is Carla's son, and I meant to ask what last name he goes by.
Diaz.
Jerome Diaz is graduating from elementary going into secondary school tomorrow. Sebastian Sanchez Aguirre, back there with his moms, Edith and Mary Lou. You want to stand? Yeah. Sebastian's going into 6th grade, which he was not so happy to tell me. If they were still in the U.S., that would mean he would get to go to middle school. But here in Mexico, he's still stuck in elementary. And we have an older young man, Sebastian, who I think you might have seen in our newsletter yesterday. I forgot his last name. I'm so sorry. He has just graduated from the middle school years into high school, so we really congratulate him on that. Okay, and that is that.
We have one in Zoom.
We do have one in Zoom, okay. We have a joy on Zoom to share that the LGBTQ Pride March that was held yesterday in San Miguel was a great success. And we're grateful to Colectivo Colores for all their work in pulling this off. Yay! And now you can come forward to light a candle of your own for a joy or concern, somebody you want to remember, even yourself, and while Jerry plays for us.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry put a lot of work into the music for today and next week, so I so appreciate it. Maybe another round of applause. How's the volume? I was getting the word that folks were having a little trouble hearing in the back. Is it good? I can't tell because I wore my hearing aids today. So it's good to be back. Our reading is again from this book, Seeds of a New Way, which I am using for the month of July because it is about nurturing authentic and diverse religious leadership anywhere, and has a lot in it. And today I'm doing an excerpt from a different essay called Beyond the Hustle by Nancy MacDonald Ladd, with whom I served at River Road in Bethesda and who has now become the Director of Communications and Public Ministry for the denomination. She quotes first Brene Brown. Brene Brown, one of those saints and sages of contemporary life, once wrote that we can't really start leading until we stop hustling for our worth. Hustling for our worth. The hustle, Nancy says, takes a great lot of effort. The real work beckons on the other side of the unconvincing charade. Brown seems to understand that leaning away from the performance and toward authenticity doesn't happen all at once or without some high stakes. It requires vulnerability because there is no smartest person in the room. Let me just repeat that. There is no smartest person in the room. And even the idea of it is an aspect of dominant culture, meaning to center one way of leading, being, or ministering in an age of increasing complexity. There is no smartest person in the world, Nancy says, and if there is, that person needs to go right ahead and check their privilege at the door, because it just may be killing us. Well, instead, Nancy says, we have so much to offer each other. There is deep knowing and compelling wisdom in this gathered community. We can only grow as leaders and as a faith if we do the work from authentic places, nourished by honest, quirky, dynamic, and diverse models of leadership, including mine and yours. So last week I spoke about collaborative leadership, and today I want to speak a little more personally. Is that okay? You're with me on the ride. Now you're stuck in any case. But today I'd like to offer a reflection on individual transformation and how it contributes to community change. You see, I am heading into a major threshold right now, and so I'm kind of flying over bird's eye view of 35 years of ministry. I'm not entering retirement, more like rewirement, as a friend says, and I'm claiming it. Yet I am concluding congregational ministry. As a staff person in one place, I'm concluding that for now because I feel complete with this kind of work. I'm sure I'm going to offer ministry within group settings in the future, but it will be as an interim guest or a consultant leader, as far as I can tell. And my wider future is still becoming. It will involve more exploration. In my new field of the last 9 months, a program I did in eco and animal chaplaincy, in ongoing companionship with individuals and groups, in creative expression, community justice building, and some kind of earth elder weaving I haven't really figured out. I'm not sure what it's all going to look like, but designing life forward often involves months of emergent strategy, to quote Adrienne Murray Brown, emergent strategy in the messy mix of unexpected transformation. And it can take a while and then get clear. So when any one of us is in that not quite yet finished threshold time, I think it's best to just let it all melt down. Don't hang on to the illusion of managing the future and just yield to the process unfolding. And that is where I am as of July 5th, and what a great place to be doing it. The circles of ministry keep widening for me, so far beyond what I ever predicted when I embarked in 1988. And back then, I was very sure about two things. One, I certainly didn't need to be ordained. And two, I would never serve in a congregation. We could see how that worked. I feel like when you say, I will never do that, that pretty much it comes for you. My strong purpose for getting the MDiv degree was to further my community work and social justice, and I was really curious about a deep dive into wisdom traditions and did a year of exploring Hinduism and Buddhism. I was nervous about entering Harvard Divinity School. I intuited that deep shifts were coming. I had been a professor, whoops, I didn't mean to say that, interesting. I had been a performer and a teacher in professional dance companies all during my 20s. That's how I felt about it, yes. I was based in the San Francisco Bay Area and then Chicago, and it seemed like things were going fine. And then in the fall of 1988, I was suddenly immersed in this intense grad school life. I was also, because I just didn't know better, signed up for field work in my very first semester. And I was, for the year, the intern chaplain in the Immigration Detention Center, the Federal Center in Boston. People seem to think that I was the minister, and I just got there. So my own calling was so very surprising. I was the often dubious would-be servant, like Jonah in the Hebrew scriptures, who got called and then ran the other way to Nineveh and ends up in the belly of the whale. I always relate to that story because I would say these cautiously optimistic yeses only to discover that things were more complicated than I had anticipated, as in completely opposite of what it seemed I had signed up for. There have been a lot of unexpected transformations. Has this ever happened to you? Not just a change of role or of structure or the cast of characters and where you are, but I mean that deep internal work of transmutation that is inside yourself within the very familiar embodied shape that is you, and yet you are not the same. This can be wildly disorienting and profoundly uncomfortable. It's a kind of spiral down slide into letting go. You might as well throw up your hands. You might as well just yield to that very long list of things you can't control. And it can be harrowing at times, but in my life, it has always led to new revelations in the very long run. I'm now in a phase of life where that hustle for worth that Brene Brown talks about has mostly dropped away. I'm a little older, wiser. I'm just not up for pretense. I'm entirely done with playing games that don't ring true. I'm just not very interested in the unconvincing charade, as my friend and compañera Nancy Ladd put it in the reading. I am very intrigued by what I consider the real work, which is leaning in, which is risking vulnerability that has felt uncomfortable in previous decades. I want to find places now where I can make the deep inner change and the outer change, creating new strategies and experiences. I don't think I'm done yet. Hundreds of UU fellowships and congregations are in a period of unexpected transformation as well. They are emerging from this pandemic stress marathon and the endless adaptation that has led to rapidly changing times. And I think there have been so many very caring lay leaders, staff leaders across our movement that have tried so hard, but in many cases, and I mean hundreds, it has led to burnout, breakdown, and sometimes breakthrough. In the midst of all that turbulence, there has also been some phenomenal continuity. And maybe you felt both things here. There are these fantastic bursts of creativity, of coherence, of something that seems to rise and feel true, of these new forms of expression, new forms of deepening. And they are all powered by what I feel is a great human yearning. I'm not sure, was that firework? Something exciting out there for the people on Zoom. Powered by a great human yearning, punctuation, exclamation point, to be communities that are connected and transforming and making a real difference in the world, all at once. And I love both the relational longing and the social justice fire. I've never thought they're mutually exclusive in any way. I love how it is strong and true in so many communities these days, including here. And I believe what we heard in our reading. We can only grow as leaders and as a faith if we do the work from authentic places, nourished by the honest, quirky, dynamic, and diverse models of leadership, including mine and yours. If you've seen me over the years, you know that I am that quirky part for sure. I operate in my own very eclectic and a kind of mystically pragmatic way. I have found both ministry and organizing to be compelling paths. I think they're braided together in me, and they call me to honesty. I've never been very good at hiding what I believe or being that quiet about it. My spouse, Regina, unfortunately can testify to that quite well. Sometimes you have to learn to be a little more quiet. I'm impatient about injustice and exclusion. I do not like meanness. It riles me up. A lot of times, I just like to get things done, and I can get way too agitated about that. And yet, my deepest desire leans towards kindness, towards loving kindness, with some kind of joyful improvisation at the heart, because if we aren't having fun in the improvisation, I really do not know why we are here. For me, that is how life flows well. And when we are at our best, UU communities have supported authentic relationship, authentic leadership, and a lot of diverse people over time. We don't have to all be the same. I have hope for our multi-dimensional futures unfolding, and I do have a sincere love for our past. I love not just the shiny successes and the proud histories, but I also love the total meltdowns where so many people have struggled. The hard things that caused harm, that were never really resolved, and yet people kept keeping on faithfully and with open hearts as well as they could. And all along with that clear human yearning to be the best we can be, even in the sharp disappointment of falling short. And so I think there are very human, authentic leaders who have given great effort and gifts right here in San Miguel de Allende and across this denomination. The next phase of your community is not mine to build, yet I will be cheering you from a distance once I return to Washington, D.C. I always want the best for you. A place to grow, to mature, to flourish, a home in which you can keep discovering Unitarian Universalist values and the many sources of our tradition. A warm gathering of people that truly seeks to be the beloved community during and after the breakdowns. The kind of place that people so deeply need these days and will continue to seek year after year. And so I urge you and each of us, myself included, to be here for them, the ones that are still arriving, the ones that are growing up here with us now, the three named for graduations. Give your best for the future generations and inhabit our values for their sake. This is a short summation by the poet Jane Hirschfield, who offers a kind of Zen approach to that life, which is to say a Buddhist approach to highest values, which is to say my human reality approach as I move about in the world. Everything changes. Everything is connected. Pay attention. Pay attention because time flies and life is short, and we have only so long to do what matters. So pay attention to what rises as whole, as true, as authentic and inspiring for you. It doesn't have to look like me or the person next to you. What is whole and inspiring for you? Open up to the unexpected transformation that is really at the heart of your individual calling in this struggling world. And in this beloved fellowship as well, where there can be so much love and so much power in your collective calling. The world needs your light, and we all need each other. Blessed be.
Wow. Thank you for your words today. What will you take from this place today? Will be the message, the music, the inspirational words? And can you leave a symbolic part of yourself? An offering of the willing will be accepted with love and reverence. For our closing hymn, let's join our voices together in song hymn 1017, Building a New Way. You may remain sitting and enjoy the video and the music in deep respect. Thank you.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We can feed on every need. Every need. We can feed on every need. Every need. We can feed on every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed on every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, our world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. A new way, a new way, a new way.
I picked two pandemic era videos for our hymns today to show the extreme resources that people used to make music when everybody was separated, and to remind us that even under those circumstances, we are creative and we are powerful. The benediction today comes from a poem, unexpectedly, I decided to add in here. It's an excerpt from a reading called Called by Jennifer Bosveld. And I purchased the art piece in the General Assembly Marketplace in 2004, which was my first entry into Unitarian Universalism, where I was wandering around in Long Beach going, who are these people? And I saw this, it felt like maybe I had found a home I didn't expect. From Jennifer Bosveld, called to brave change, called to celebrate paradox, to invite the joy, to value the sorrow, called to talk to strangers, called to express life at the outermost of my energy field, called to wade in the water, called to what is life affirming, called to wage peace in every action, called to notice grace at each occurrence, Called to hear a person's name and say it. Called not to be patient, waiting for justice. Called to act responsibly as though I am the center of the universe, and yet called to propose that there are billions of centers of the universe, all as important as me. Go forth and practice love. Be well.